Do you know where we are? I guess I'm asking the guy from Montana where we
Yeah,
are in the world, but
we're in the town of Bassett.
Bassett, yeah.
This is the
Okay.
Bassett Town Hall.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
So that's where we are today.
Yeah, cool. We're in the town of Bassett, and I'm here with a firefighter who's been on the camp house fire in particular.
It's a complex fire, so there's the camp house and the Jenkins to the west, and I've been working on the Jenkins.
Oh, Jenkins, okay.
Yep.
And Milo from Missoula, but
Yep.
what? Tell me your first and last name and how.
Full name's Milo Nyseth, and yes, I'm a firefighter out of Missoula, Montana, off the Lolo National Forest.
Okay, so you were called in to fight these fires when this was really taking off earlier in May.
Yep, that's correct.
Okay. An interesting thing, Milo, that you and I were discussing, and I want to hear about the fires, of course, but I think now that since they've calmed down, it's pretty well known, I'm sure, to our audience that those two fires, which were making national news, have since subsided a little bit. They're still active, but much more contained at this time. And the connection that really sparked my interest in talking with you, Milo, is that you were here about 20 years ago for the Ham Lake fire in the Boundary Waters, 2007.
Yep.
What do you recall about that experience being there?
Yep, that was, like you said, 2007. It was May, and I was working on a 20-person hand crew at the time. So we got a dispatch order to come out here to Minnesota. It took us about 2 or 3 days to get here. And we were told we were going to the Boundary Waters, which I didn't know much about at the time. And I was a squad boss on the crew, and we got out here, and the first thing that we did was we started doing some canoe training and some motorboat training and some floating pump training. And we got a lot of training, which isn't really normal when you arrive to a fire. You just start engaging the fire, doing the things you normally do. But this was a lot different because the fires were spread throughout all these different islands, and you had to have safe access and training, which was a lot by canoe. Sometimes we were in a motorboat. Every day was a little different, and it was all very interesting for us, and it was a lot of fun. And we had 2 people in a canoe, so we had to get our canoe buddy and do some training, and actually out there on the lake learning how to paddle and working together in the canoe.
So what was the canoe training like? What did that entail and involve, if you recall?
They just basically taught us how to use a canoe and your balance, and just paddling together, and just keeping your balance. And I think we could have probably figured it out, but like they gave us the tips, and it was kind of a protocol, so that they were just setting us up for success.
Wow, wow. And then you actively engaged with the Ham Lake fire. I mean, you were out there while there were flames and so forth.
Yep, that's correct. It took us a few days to get here, and I think the fire wasn't as active by the time that we got here, and we were doing a lot of mop up. And
This is the Ham Lake fire?
The Ham Lake fire, that's correct. And so, like, as we were going through these different islands, it was mostly mop up and just kind of walking through the wreckage and checking stuff and securing stuff. And there was a lot of ground to cover. So
yeah. And did you see any structures that had burned in that fire?
yeah, I saw multiple structures that had burned down to the foundation. So it was quite the sight. I hadn't seen a lot of that up until that point, but definitely was a different experience.
Yeah, okay. And you said you hadn't really heard of the Boundary Waters much before then. I mean, did you get a chance to ever come back or recreate in there, not just have to deal with an emergency?
That's a good question. The simple answer is no. But throughout the years I've been doing this, since 2002, and you go to a lot of places that you like and that you think are really neat, and you'll say, I want to come back here.
Yeah.
I want to come back here and just enjoy the area, and like not while I'm working, and just have fun.
Yep.
And so that was definitely one of those spots. I've never made it out to Minnesota for a personal vacation, but I've been here 3 times now on fire assignments. So
Okay.
yeah.
So how was back to the Jenkins and where we're at now? These 2 fires in Minnesota. I know there were a few, but those 2 in particular. Uh, do they compare, or just how was that experience in terms of the severity of those fires?
Well, it was kind of similar in the sense that I knew these fires were active and they were going on, and I got a resource order to come out here, and that was on a Tuesday. So I left Tuesday afternoon, and I didn't get here till Thursday afternoon. So the fires were still pretty active when we arrived, and it was a pretty windy day, so that always makes us be cautious with the wind because that's what drives the fires, especially here. So I knew it could be a really interesting day as far as the fire activity and the possibilities. So myself, Dave Moore and I was my trainee, and we came up to the fire, and we were here for about an hour, and then we got a pretty good storm.
Yep.
A lot of rain.
Yeah, that's the rain and even some hail or snow.
Rain, lightning, hail, thunder,
Yeah.
all of the above, and then it proceeded to rain for about 3 days. And we never count on the rain putting out a fire because they don't put out fires. There still needs to be a lot of work to be done, even after the rain, but the rain bought us a lot of time to get, to buy us some time to get some work done.
Yeah. And these fires certainly made news across Minnesota, but they were, I think, much grander scale. And these were serious wildfires, and there were hotshot crews out from Montana and elsewhere as well, right?
That's correct, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, these were serious fires. And on behalf of Minnesotans, put away the Paddle Portage and media hat here and just say thanks for coming out here, you and everybody. There's other firefighters just over here right now. Dave's right here, and just thank you.
Yeah, well, you're welcome, and that's a big part of our job, and that's why we do it. We like to come help where we can.
All right. Well, hopefully that you're able to get back for that Boundary Waters trip sometime, and happy to point out a few fishing holes or whatever you might need. So be sure to look me up if you ever get back for that trip. And thanks, Milo. And I hope life's good for you in Missoula, and that things are greening up out there so that the wildfire season isn't too intense out in Montana this summer. Thank you, Milo. I appreciate it.
I appreciate it. Thank you.